really grieve my friend, my brother, Senator Kabaka, the Senator of Machakos, who left us on the 11th day of December 2020, Madam Speaker. And for the record, Senator Kabaka left us at 8:45 a.m. on December 11th, 2020, and not earlier, as had been circulated by a section of social media. Madam Speaker, I want to say that all of us have lost a dear friend and a great leader in this nation. A man who was very passionate about the things that he did, and especially very passionate about the plight of the poor and the downtrodden in society. Speaker, I remember that the last conversation that I had with Senator Kabaka was about people in his county whose land had been taken for the construction of a mega dam, and they had not been compensated. And when he tried to push for their compensation and it was not forthcoming, he took the initiative as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and went to court to stop the project until his people are compensated. When I spoke to him, he said, "My brother," as he used to call me, "I want to go with you to see those people. And because I know who you are," that's him talking to me, "because I know who you are, you would definitely cry to see the kind of people whose land has been taken and they have not been compensated." That speaks volumes about the kind of person that Kabaka was, Senator. Madam Speaker, in my interaction with Senator Kabaka, and I say this with humility to the people of Machakos County, in fact, it has reached a point, Madam Speaker, and I was saying to myself, counting the number of times that Senator Kabaka has gone with me to Kitui for functions, I am convinced that in fact he could have spent a lot more time in functions in Kitui than in Machakos. When I lost my auntie in May of this year, it is Senator Kabaka who called me and said, "You and I should not bother other people. You and I will share the cost of the burial. We'll buy the coffin and pay for transportation to go and rest your auntie." And he was there. He drove himself to my home for the burial of my auntie. Madam Speaker, time will not allow me to say the many things that I did with my brother, Senator Kabaka. But one thing stands out, Madam Speaker. Early in the year, I mentioned to him that I was thinking of enrolling for a master's degree in theology. And Kabaka said, "On the day that you're going to be picking the forms to fill for enrollment, I'll go with you so that we pursue the course together." That is how close Senator Kabaka was to me, Madam Speaker. And I want to say that God gave us Senator Kabaka, and God has called Senator Kabaka to himself. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Madam Speaker, to be remembered, as I conclude my eulogy, it will be remembered how Senator Kabaka stood with Kitui and Makueni and all the counties that were supposed to be losing money in the revenue sharing formula. And I remember how Senator Kabaka was lobbied by so many people that he should abandon the course because Machakos was gaining money. And in my presence, he told the people that were lobbying him, "For as long as my people in Kitui and my people in Makueni are losing money, I will not accept to gain at the expense of my brothers and sisters." Madam Speaker, I want to say, may the soul of our brother, our friend, Senator Kabaka rest in eternal peace. And Madam Speaker, with your permission, I want to inform the House that tomorrow is the day that we are going to Mikuyu in Masinga for the final resting of our brother and our colleague. We are leaving the city at 7 in the morning, and I want to thank the Secretariat for the great support that they have given the family and the organizing committee to make sure that we give our brother, our friend, a befitting send-off. Transport has been arranged for senators that we are going to be meeting here in Parliament at 6:30 in the morning. We have agreed with the Secretariat that because the proceedings of Parliament and the happenings around Parliament are determined by our own standing orders and by tradition, through Kabaka, Madam Speaker, we have agreed as a committee that was appointed by the Speaker to coordinate the burial that we will begin a new tradition in this Parliament. That when a member passes on, it is only fitting that as they depart, they have an opportunity to be brought to the Parliament for colleagues who will not be able to go to the morgue and to the burial to just pay their last respects. So we have agreed that tomorrow we will pass by here with the body of our friend for people to just pay their respects and to meet and join with other colleagues. And we leave Parliament as a convoy. We go to Masinga through Thika Road. We expect to be in Masinga at around 10 a.m. when the program starts, and run through the program until around 4 p.m. when we intend to bury our friend. So this is just a call to our colleagues to kindly just make that sacrifice tomorrow. Wake up that early in the morning. At 6:30 in the morning, please let's all be here. A few of us, those who are in the committee, will go to Lee, we'll bring the body, and then we will join our colleagues here, and together we'll go to bury our brother, our friend. Madam Speaker, thank you for giving me the time to eulogize my friend and to brief members on what we are doing. I thank you, Madam Speaker. May the soul of my brother, Senator Boniface Mutinda Kabaka, rest in God's eternal peace.
Senator Kabaka was the sort of person, even when he was unwell, he was still having coffee here and there, full of life. So it was very disturbing to receive a call on 4th of December that he was unwell. I'm still very traumatized because I had to do a lot of organization through the Parliament to get Senator Kabaka checked because I was told about his diagnosis of excessive bleeding at 6 a.m. on that day. Although I wanted to disclose to all you members what had befallen Kabaka, I really restrained myself. As a result, I really suffered with that information, and therefore just to find him immobile at the hospital was more traumatizing. I met Kabaka in 2009 in Kaba, where I went to pick my lovely wife Anita, where he comes from, and I've known him and he used to call me his in-law, in Kikamba, Adoni. For Kabaka and his largeness of life to be reduced into a coffin tomorrow is something that will be very traumatizing to me. That great man and great humor who used to sit behind us here, it's a tragedy. I want to remind you members that in the end, as politicians, we're all human beings. Let's be friends, let's know one another, and may his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Mourn a friend and a colleague. I knew Senator Kabaka before we came into the Senate. I had known him for quite some time. As a colleague in the party, Senator Kabaka, way back, was an ODM party member, very strong member who came out strongly and had an encounter with him during those days as a member of the party before he ran on the current ticket that he used to come to the Senate. Senator Kabaka is a colleague in the profession as a lawyer. My path and his crisscrossed as we ran around in the courtrooms to defend our clients. Very committed lawyer. And finally, Senator Kabaka became a colleague in the Senate, and I admired him and his practice of the law. And Madam Speaker, the last encounter I had with him just before we lost him is a visit he made to my home in Mashuru in Kajiado County. He came in with Senator of Kitui, Senator Wambua, and I hosted them. And Madam Speaker, he had plans. He had a life that was so vibrant, and he had asked me to help him get a breed we call the Dopa sheep. And when he came home, he was able to identify a few that he had hoped he was going to purchase. He also had wanted to do a breed of animals that we call simmentals, and he also wanted to buy some from us. It was not to be. We had those plans, but I guess God had bigger plans for him, and all we can do is mourn him. We miss him. He was a darling to many of us here in the Senate and as a friend, and I pray that he becomes a darling even to the angels in heaven. Rest in peace, colleague and friend.
I thank you, Madam Speaker, also for getting a chance to eulogize and send condolences to the family of our colleague, Senator Boniface Mutinda Kabaka. Madam Speaker, if ever there was a jovial man in this Senate, if there was ever a kind man in this Senate, Senator Kabaka was such a person. I am aware of many verses in the Bible, Old Testament and New Testament, that compares life to the grass that withers away and to the flower that fades away. And you find those words in many parts of the scripture, in both books of the Bible. And when I remember how fast Senator Kabaka has left us, then I only hope that as the word of the Lord lasts and stays forever, his life will remain with us and with generations to come, because what we place in record regarding Senator Kabaka will be read and attested to by future generations. Madam Speaker, I want to compare Senator Kabaka to a famous statesman in old Rome called Marcus Cicero. He was a man of letters, he was a lawyer, he was a statesman, he was an orator. The only thing, and a man of letters, as I've said, the only difference between him and Senator Kabaka was because he was a successful lawyer and a successful politician. The only difference is that he tried to overthrow the government in Rome, which Kabaka has never tried. But in every respect, including, calling for democratic rule, because Cicero also wanted the old republican tradition to be maintained in Rome before Julius Caesar and after he became the emperor in old Rome. So I hope in the life of a great man like this, because he always sat in front of me or I sat behind him or vice versa, but he was truly inspiring as a man of letters and as a human being. I hope that we will remember him for the good deeds he did for this country and for being firm and principled. Whether we disagreed or agreed, he remained principled, and that I'd always remember. Finally, Madam Speaker, I always encourage all the young senators that, create your brand. And Kabaka created his brand. And say everything that you must say. Even if people think you are wrong, say it. The only thing that we must always maintain is decorum, because, as politicians, sometimes we go overboard. Lawyers never go the way politicians go. The churches, the bishops don't call each other names like politicians do. And Kabaka never did.
Madam Speaker, on the 7th of November, if I got the date right, I joined Senator Mutula and Senator Wambua at Nairobi Hospital to visit our friend. We were supposed to wake up from surgery that evening. And I was not allowed to see him, but we sat with the family, and I think the wife and one of the sons was next to us. And we were looking forward that he would come to a few hours later or a few days later. Madam Speaker, on the 11th, Senator Mutula called me and told me that in fact, he put it very interestingly. He said, rebel in chief of Team Kenya, you've lost a general. And I understood what he meant. And that was very, very sad, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Senator Kabaka was very jovial, very engaging, extremely deep, as Senator Senator Murkomen said. And he was a friend. I remember at the time I addressed an issue about him and Senator Mutula and Senator Murkomen for going to court to support the then governor of Nairobi, Governor Sonko. And I felt, you guys should have at least told me, what you're doing. He took time to come to my office and explain what was going on. And we became very close during the stalemate of the revenue because he was in our team. We had thought he'd be a weak link, but he was strong. And Madam Speaker, that moment was not an easy moment for any of us, especially those whose counties had been gaining, but who chose to stand with the others. And every time he would just call me to reassure me that we were moving in one direction. And we did many things, even outside Parliament, many of which, Madam Speaker, him and I will stay with the memory.
And a person who was endowed with tremendous ability to interpret the social circumstances and the economic welfare of his people. And indeed, those of us who witnessed his ability to debate in this House, he was able to, in a very brief manner, summarize the events of the debate, and he was able to also give a way forward on how that debate should go. And more so, his acumen and knowledge in the legal profession gave him a very tall position in that professional docket, and was a man who was imbued with a lot of experiences that he would be able to bring on the table. Of the parliamentary debate, he was a man who is in social engagement, was very mindful of other people's welfare. And I know that every time any one of us approached him on something that had to do with either somebody who has died somewhere, he was a very ready hand in giving support to that person, and also in giving support to the projects that needed to be done. Therefore, we've lost a man who was, in fact, in terms of his contribution to this nation, that he has contributed more than many others who would have done in his place if they had been given that time span that he has been with us in this level. So, in sympathy with the family, we want to condole with the family and the people of Machakos for losing a very able senator, and hopefully, God willing, that they may be able to find somebody to step into his shoes. To the family, we pass our condolences to them, and particularly the close family. And I know at this time of grief, many people may doubt what there is, but for those of us who are glued up in the Bible, we know that there is hope beyond death. And death is just a shadow, and therefore death only comes at a time, and people, according to the biblical enunciation, death can only come at a time like this. And we've seen a lot of people die. But at the end of the day, we should all believe and trust that eventually when the Lord Master comes, in that glorious day, as recorded in Revelation 21st, verse 1 to 3, that when the Jerusalem city descends on this earth, we shall all be presently be there singing a new song, which even the angels of heaven will not be able to read and understand the tonics of that song, except the ones who have triumphed on this world. And I think he will be one of them. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, the people of Machakos have lost an honest man, a selfless man. If you look at what he was doing at home and even the school he was putting up, his love for the community and his love for the truth, they have lost a great, great senator. And I hope that, Madam Speaker, his memory will live on. Madam Speaker, I'm reminded of the words of Khalil Gibran in The Prophet when he speaks about death, and he says, "Your fear of death is but the trembling of the shepherd when he stands before the king, whose hand is to be laid upon him in honor. Is a shepherd not joyful beneath his trembling that he shall wear the mark of the king? Yet is he not more mindful of his trembling? For what is it to die but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountain top, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then you shall truly dance. Senator Kabaka, go well and dance on. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Was my senior in the legal profession. He's a man whom, if you met in these chambers or outside here, you would mistake his simplicity for weakness. You would mistake his simplicity for, you would never actually tell that it's a man with immense knowledge and education. I think Boniface Kabaka had more than 4 degrees. I think, yeah, he was pursuing the 6th. He had 5. And he was pursuing a PhD. If there is a senator who engaged us intellectually in the Senate social media group, was Senator Kabaka. I enjoyed their conversation, especially late nights, because I am a late night sleeper. And Madam Speaker, him and Senator Achilo Ayako have always entertained us with very witty comments. Senator Kabaka, in any conversation you had with him, you realized that he was deep, both intellectually in the legal profession, in terms of understanding of law, but life and philosophy of life. His most memorable moment, I think, in this House, and which is his legacy, is his stand with those counties that were meant to lose money in the discussion on division of revenue. And when we were having that debate, Senator Kabaka was part of Team Kenya, and Senator Sakaja, who was part of our leadership, will bear witness. We thought, most of us thought that he was the last person to stand firm because of the pressure that was there, insofar as the decision to stand with the counties that were losing were concerned. But he stood very firm. Not to mention that Senator Mutula and Senator Wambua, together with him, went to pray with a bishop. And when Mutula and Wambua came back, they told us, don't worry about Kabaka. He did not just confess to us, he also confessed to God that he's going to stand firm with Team Kenya. And he stood firm. And I think it's very sad that this House lost such a gentleman. It is very sad that this country lost somebody at that level. In fact, he was the kind of person, I used to joke with him that if his political career ends soon, he should consider a career in the bench so that he can write very good judgments based on the very immense knowledge he had. We will miss him. We will miss our colleague here, but we want to tell the people of Machakos to take heart. Your senator did wonderful things in defending you outside there and inside this chamber, and that God will guide you also to get another leader who will follow in the footsteps of Senator Boniface Kabaka Mutinda. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I'd like to wish his family the very best.
Speaker, I remember one time jokingly asking him why that had to be, but he was so convinced and convicted. And I want to tell his people that they had a selfless leader and a man who actually seemed and wished no harm. I remember Senator Kabaka here, when we were approving the head of the police, the IG of police, he stood firmly and told this House the man was his classmate, and he appealed to us to support him. And I remember rising and saying, when one of our colleagues has given those kind of credentials, there must be something true about the person we are approving. And we supported the present IG of police. Therefore, he was a man that stood with what he believed, and he is a man who stood for the interest of his people. And Madam Speaker, I want to make two final appeals. To the media, let them be wary, let them be considerate of families. When something like this happens, not to bring emotional issues that are neither here nor there. Somebody passes on, and that is it. Don't bring other stories, that seem maybe emotionally amusing. The other one, Madam Speaker, is that Senator Kabaka has left a family. And I was wondering, and I've been wondering, that when we are in this house, what is it that we can do to ensure at least we give lip life to that kind of a family? It's a family with children. And we will lay Kabaka tomorrow, But I would say, I wish we had a system in this house or in Parliament where with something would be done to see that the life of and continuity of the children and his family really is not affected as much. But in the end of the day, let us say God knows best what he did, and God knows best what he's doing. Let us pray and appreciate God's life he has given our brother, and we say, may the wish of God be done, and may God bless this family and take care of it more than anybody can take care of it.
Madam Speaker, we shall miss him, but we believe that God has really had a better plan for him. Madam Speaker, Senator Kabaka died at the time when I had told him that I was going for payback in Machakos, because my own auntie was married in 1965, and we were going there for 2 beautiful brides from Machakos. And when I was looking for him, I actually looked for Mutula because I couldn't trace him and he was not picking. But I was glad that I was glad we got the brides, but very, very sad, because one of the times we went there is when he was in hospital. I really, I know we'll miss Senator Kabaka, but when the day he died at 8 in the morning, we also lost Joe Nyaka at 1:30, and my deepest condolences to the family of Joe Nyaka, who was also a member of this House and also a member of the cabinet. We also have the governor of Nyamira, who is in the same mortuary currently. We also send our deepest condolences through our senator of Nyamira, Senator Mogeni.
I want to say that death is a monster that spares no one, irrespective of wisdom or knowledge. I want to say Senator Kabaka was a great man. I've heard so many of us talk about him as a great debater. He was a great debater here, and I want to say that if anyone ever sat with Kabaka outside this particular house in a free environment and listened to him, he was a man of great knowledge. He had an aspiration to become the next governor of Machakos. He had a plan for that particular vision. I remember one time I asked him if he was an economist, because his arguments on the area of economics expressed a lot of wisdom and brilliance. As Senator Jerujota said, I want to express a lot of concern in the area of media council. What sometimes the social media and the media, even the mainstream media, talks about people, especially on their dead, is very disrespectful to the families. They forget about ethics that they learned in university, about being mindful of even the significant other people who surround us.
For our colleague Kabaka, it came very soon. Madam Speaker, I had time to go and visit him to the hospital that material day he passed, only to be told that he's no more. You can imagine how I felt going to visit somebody and you are told he's heading to the morgue. With all the due respect, Madam Speaker, it's my honor to speak about him today. Although I wish I were talking about his retirement party and celebrating what great man he was instead I'm talking or eulogizing Senator Kabaka. Madam Speaker, Senator Kabaka was a honorable member. He was an articulate leader who brought courage with to everything he did. He had fine political mind, and indeed he was. We can all think that we are living, and I want to tell my people that life is so unfair that it came soon for our colleague Kabaka. It has taken him soon from the family, and we shall never see Kabaka again.